Have you ever barged into a room and found your worst nightmare in pajamas? I did. 3 Fridays ago, at exactly 8:07 p.m., I stormed up our bedroom stairs, heart racing, palms slick, because my husband, Mark, hadn't answered my texts for hours. Our anniversary dinner reservation was in 30 minutes, and he was nowhere to be found. I flung open the door, and there they were, him and Lily, his college ex, knocked out her favorite cashmere sweater he'd gifted her once. She lay on top of him, cheek pressed to his chest, breath warm against his skin. He blinked in surprise, tangled in the sheets. She sat up, too wide-eyed and guilty. My chest squeezed, the air went thin. I swallowed hard. What the hell is going on? My voice sounded small, distant, like a child's. He sat up abruptly, then shot out of bed, scrambling for his shirt. "Babe, wait!" He yanked it on, backwards, arms flailing. Lily slipped off the mattress and dashed for the closet. Her eyes met mine, and I saw fear and something else. Regret. Triumph. I couldn't tell. I crossed my arms, boots clicking on the hardwood floor. "Explain," I said, voice steadier than I felt. He exhaled and rubbed his jaw. "It's not what it looks like." I lifted my chin. "Really?" "Because it looks like you're auditioning for a Lifetime movie remake." He winced. "Okay. Sit down. Please." He gestured to the armchair. My cheeks burned, anger, humiliation, disbelief tangled together. I forced myself to sit. Lily emerged from the closet clutching a robe. She avoided my gaze, wrapping it around her. "I'm so sorry," she murmured. I glared at her. "Sorry? You're sorry? It's my house, my bed, my wedding day." Mark knelt beside me, voice urgent. "Honey, listen. I promise you this was purely business." I blinked. "Business? You call this business?" He swallowed. "Lily is now a CEO of her startup. I'm an investor. We're closing a deal tonight, finalizing terms before their big launch. She was here to show me the prototype, and it got late." I stood, hands shaking. "And so you spontaneously decided the bedroom was the best. Boardroom. With the lights off." He ran a hand through his hair. "I know it looks bad, but it's all legal. Business. Purely. Professional." Lily shifted, clearing her throat. I didn't want you to panic if you saw me going through contract drafts on your laptop. My wedding dress hung on its hook behind me, pristine, untouched. I thought of satin rubbing against skin, mine tomorrow. I thought of promises exchanged at the altar. I felt dizzy. I pressed my palm to my forehead. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't pack a bag and head straight to my sister's. Mark's eyes softened. "Because I love you. I've loved you since we met at that charity gala in 2015. I would never risk us." Lily's gaze flicked between us. "Look, I'll go. I shouldn't be here." I pulled a loose strand of hair behind my ear. "Yes, I think that's wise." She moved to the door, robe swirling around her ankles, and paused. She looked back at me, her eyes glinting with sorrow or defiance, and whispered, "I'm sorry." Then she slipped out. I exhaled, tension uncoiling, but the room felt colder for her departure. Mark sank onto the bed, shoulders slumped. "I'll explain everything," he promised, voice heavy. I folded my arms. "You have 24 hours. After that, we talk about our anniversary. Plan, and whether you still deserve one." He nodded, and I swept from the room, boots echoing down the hall. Behind me, he called my name softly, but I didn't look back. I had questions only time would answer. 24 hours, I told him, and I meant every one. I spent the night in our guest room, staring at the ceiling. Every creak in the house sounded like a lie unraveling beneath me. My phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Mark's number. Texted, "I'm so sorry. Sleep if you can." I left it unread. Morning light found me brewing strong coffee in the kitchen. My hands trembled as I poured it into my favorite mug, one he'd given me for our first Valentine's Day together. It felt like betrayal in porcelain. I stared into the dark liquid, searching for answers I doubted he could give. He appeared at the threshold, wearing jeans and a wrinkled shirt. No tie, no blazer, just a man who'd slept in his own sheets last night despite how wrong it felt. His eyes were bloodshot. I held up my phone. "Call with your lawyer?" He nodded, voice raspy. 9 a.m. "We can do it here." He gestured to the kitchen table. I poured him coffee without speaking. He took a slow sip. "Here's the deal," he began, clearing his throat. Lilly startup, Zephyr Biotech needed a Series A closing before Monday, or investors pulled out. They're developing a groundbreaking blood glucose monitor that syncs with a smartphone, huge for diabetic patients. She flew in last night to demo the prototype. With all-night code tweaks, she crashed here, fell asleep by my desk. When I came to check her, she was shivering. I wrapped her in that cashmere robe. I blinked at the words. Technology, investors, prototypes, none of it soothing. Why not the guest room or the couch? He exhaled. No time. The garage door buzzer malfunctioned. The security system was glitching. We couldn't risk resetting alarms and missing the 10 a.m. demo to Vance Capital. I panicked. I pressed my lips together. "So you panicked into making our bed a makeshift lab?" He winced. "It was stupid. I should have woken you." I stared at my coffee, bitterness rising. "You should have called, video chatted, texted, anything. Except, look at us." I gestured to the empty air between us. He closed his eyes. "I know. I can fix this. I'll move her to a hotel, my treat, and finish the deal. Remotely at dawn. No more need for in-person meetings until Monday." I tilted my head. "And you want me to trust that?" He reached for my hand, tentative. "I love you. Zephyr's success will help us. Healthcare. Benefits for our families. Support for my mom's diabetic community. It's not just business for me. It's personal mission." I kept my hand in mine, cold but steady. "That's not the point." He nodded, squeezing my fingers. "I won't work here again until you say it's okay." I let the silence hang. Finally, I exhaled. "We need rules." He nodded eagerly. "Anything." I listed them, voice firm. 1. No overnight guests, business or otherwise, without my knowledge. 2. Bed is sacred. Not a lab, not a makeshift office. 3. Immediate communication. Any late-night work emergency triggers a text and audio. Call, no exceptions. 4. Public clarification. Monday morning, you'll post on social media explaining the Zephyr deal and clarifying nothing else happened. Transparency. His grip tightened. Agreed. I paused at the last. "And I need a frank introduction to Lilly. No more ghosts from the past." He nodded. "I'll call her now." He stepped into our living room and dialed. I watched his silhouette against the window, guilt and determination battling in his posture. I sipped my coffee, the warmth finally reaching my core. A moment later, Lilly appeared in the doorway, wearing that same robe, and swallowed hard. She looked at me with remorse etched in her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she said, voice trembling. "I never meant to hurt you." I folded my arms. "You were reckless." She nodded. "I was scared. I thought if I lost this deal, my company and my family's legacy would collapse. My heart clenched at her fear, so similar to my husband's. "This is our home," I said. "Not an emergency shelter." She stepped back, head bowed. "I understand." I exhaled. "Good. Now you'll go to a hotel, finish the demo over video call, and be out by noon." She blinked back tears. I will." My husband exhaled in relief. "Thank you." By late morning, Lily had departed with her prototype and laptop, escorted by Mark to the car. Their goodbyes felt awkward. No kisses, no lingering hugs, just the tight clasp of professionalism renewed. I watched them leave, a knot in my stomach loosening ever so slightly. I turned to Mark. "You've got until midnight to finalize those investor calls," I said. "Then I want you back here. We'll have dinner, just us." He hugged me, gentle, careful, and I let him. It felt more like a promise than any ring ever could. That evening, over homemade pasta, we talked, but not about blood glucose monitors or term sheets. We talked about the story of our first date, the dreams that brought us together, the promise we'd made before anyone ever mentioned business deals. When dessert arrived, tiramisu, his favorite, I looked into his eyes. "Business can't trump trust," I said softly. He nodded, voice husky. "Never again." I smiled, the tension ebbing. "Then let's remember why we started this, yesterday, today, and every day after." As we clinked spoons against crystal dessert glasses, I realized that love, like any partnership, needs clear boundaries, rules that honor both hearts and ambitions. And sometimes the fiercest boardroom drama can lead to the clearest reset, a recommitment to what truly matters, each other. Trust isn't rebuilt with a single promise. It's woven stitch by careful stitch, day after day. The night Lily drove away, I closed our front door with a soft click and felt the echo of possibilities unfurling in the silence. Mark and I stood in the entryway, shoulders brushing. He removed my coat and draped it around my shoulders, my grandmother's quilted wrap, an heirloom I cherished. I leaned into the warmth, knowing that small gestures often carry the deepest meaning. "Tomorrow, I'll send that post explaining the deal," he murmured, voice low. "No more secrets." I nodded, heart stirring. "And I'll publish our marriage manifesto, clear boundaries for work and home." He kissed my temple, and we walked toward the living room, footsteps soft against the rug. The city lights pulsed beyond the window. Our home felt like a refuge rebuilt from its own ashes. The following morning, I sat at my desk with a cup of chamomile tea and typed the first lines of our home office accord. I wrote it as an open letter, part informational guide, part love letter. In our home, the bedroom is sacred. No laptops, no prototypes, no overnight guests not invited. Under both our names. Business emergencies belong in the guest suite or a hotel room, not under the canopy of our marriage vows. I outlined 4 key pillars. 1. Space separation. All work confined to study or guest suite after 7 p.m. 2. Immediate alerts. Any after-hours call or visit triggers a shared calendar entry. 3. Mutual approval. No unscheduled guest allowed in private quarters. 4. Weekly check-ins. Every Sunday morning, we review upcoming week's work demands. Over pancakes, I hit publish on our private family blog and sent the link to Mark. He read it under the breakfast light, eyes flicking over each line, then closed his laptop. "Perfect," he said, smiling. "I'll live by every rule." I grinned back. "I'll hold you to it." Later that week, work called across the ocean. Lily's Zephyr team closed their Series A at dawn. Melbourne time, and investors hailed the device as a game-changer for diabetic care. Mark beamed at the news, pride mingled with relief. He turned to me, eyes twinkling. We did it, honest, transparent, together. I squeezed his hand. We did. That evening, over takeout pad thai in our living room, we pored over the latest headlines. Innovators closed $25 million round amidst pandemic, and investor couple advocates for marital boundaries in hybrid work era. We laughed at our photo in the business spotlight, me in a burgundy dress, him in a sharp navy suit. Our story now part of a broader conversation about remote work and home life. You know, I said, spoon hovering over noodles, we should host a webinar for couples navigating home offices. He chuckled. You'd be incredible at it. I half smiled. Only if you speak alongside me. He nodded, eyes earnest. Together. 2 weeks later, we hosted our first live session, Love and Laptops, Safeguarding Your Sanctuary. Couples joined from across the globe, sharing screens, family pets wandering into view. We covered everything from carving out personal zones to negotiating high-stakes deadlines without undermining romance. One participant asked, "How do you handle clients who request after-hours calls?" I leaned into the camera and said, "We tell them our office closes at 7 p.m. in our time zone after that we're off duty. We offer an emergency hotline with a small premium for true 24/7 needs. It protects our sanity and our marriage." A flurry of chat messages lit up the screen. Brilliant. Setting my own office hours now. Thank you. After the session, Mark wrapped me in a hug. We're helping so many, he said softly. I rested my head on his shoulder. All because we learned the hard way. Amid our digital success, everyday life thrummed with renewed harmony. Mornings began with coffee brewed on the balcony, sunrise painting the sky peach and lavender as we charted out meals and workouts. Mark tended to his mother's health advocacy calls in the study while I drafted blog posts and planned our next Stitch and Sisters workshop, now rebranded as Stitch, and strategies for business-minded duos. One afternoon, my phone buzzed with a text from Lily. "Mark, thank you for the company. You were right, this deal was bigger than me. I'm grateful for your partnership, and thank you, too, my name, for setting that boundary. I'm in therapy, learning to manage my fear of failure. I hope I can make amends someday." I felt a warm glow, redemption softening the past's sharp edges. I replied, "Healing takes courage. Proud of you. Let's catch up for coffee." On a crisp Saturday, Lily and I met at the neighborhood cafe where Mark and I had our first kiss. She arrived in jeans and a crisp white blouse, no cashmere, no secrets, holding a box of pastries. We sat at a small table, clinking ceramic mugs of hot chocolate. "I owe you so much," she said, voice husky with emotion, "for protecting your home, for inviting me to make it right." I sipped my drink, savoring its warmth. "We all have mistakes in our story," I said. "What matters is how we rewrite the next chapter." She smiled, a real, breath-catching smile. "Thank you." We talked about therapy milestones, career goals, sisterhood beyond marriage. I realized our bond had shifted from rivalry to respect, a new pattern stitched into our shared history. That evening, Mark surprised me with a handwritten letter, ink flowing across cream stationery. He read it aloud. "My love, watching you stand firm taught me the true meaning of partnership. I vow to defend our sanctuary and our truth always. You are my anchor, I your advocate. Here's to every Tomorrow we build, transparent, respectful, fearless. Tears brimmed in my eyes. I rose and kissed him, long, tender, unbreakable. And I vowed to uphold our boundaries, I whispered. He nodded, smiling against my lips. Forever and ever. Months later, as autumn leaves drifted down our street, I sat at the desk where part 3 of our story had begun. I opened my laptop and typed the closing words of our 3-part chronicle. We walked through betrayal and back into each other's arms, not as naive lovers, but as co-architects of a shared life, where love and business coexist in harmony, and where boundaries set the stage for deeper connection. I hit publish, and our saga went live for the world. Within hours, comments poured in, stories of couples who'd reclaimed their spaces, articles citing our home office accord, invitations to speak at business wellness conferences. I read each note with wonder, realizing our personal crisis had blossomed into a movement for thousands. That evening, as I prepared for bed, I paused at the hallway mirror. I saw a woman who'd stormed into a bedroom in fury, then had the courage to demand clarity and carve out solutions. I touched my reflection, steady, strong. I whispered, I am worth respect. My home is my sanctuary. My marriage is my priority. And as I slipped beneath the sheets, I knew the story wasn't just about betrayal or business. It was about the power of honesty, the necessity of boundaries, and the resilience of love when we choose to rebuild together.